There's a guy named Mike Persi. He's out in Las Vegas. He's part of a church that should clearly be helping him because it's called Abundant Living Las Vegas. Okay? First of all, that's an awesome name for a church to begin with. Like, they're in Vegas, and it's called Abundant Living. Okay? All right. I hope you do well in the slots. Anyway, so Mike's got a serious issue. He's been in a wheelchair for over 3 decades. He had an accident at the age of 27, and he can't walk. Now, he's a really religious guy, so he prays and prays. And, you got those snake oil salesmen out there, Pat Robertson, who are always like, oh, you've got a chin ache. It's now cured, right? Well, dude, cure Mike, okay? But they never do that, right? Because they can't do that. But then a friend of his sends him a video and says about yoga and how it can actually start to build some of your muscles. And for people who haven't been able to walk, they can actually begin to take some steps. So that's amazing. So he starts to do that. And guess what? It works. It's phenomenal, right? So it's not like he's now, dancing around and running, marathons, etc. But look, he's now can walk. His record is 274 steps taken overall, 65 in a row without assistance. I love this story, right? So this has helped him. So, and obviously, his church is going to help him out here. He's been going to this church the whole time, right? No. So he was looking for some assistance here, and with the help of some of his friends, set up a GoFundMe site. This is what happened next. When friends set up a GoFundMe page to help Mitch cover income lost during the time he was working with Mike, most parishioners refused to contribute. Now, Mitch is a guy who is the born-again Christian yoga instructor. So Mitch Menick is saying, hey, look, man, I took time out of my career to help him, which he did, and it worked. Isn't that amazing? Can you help out a little bit? And he's born again, and so he's like, hey guys, help me out with this, at this church that I've been going to my whole life. And they're like, nope, sorry, no can do, because yoga is the work of the devil. They're not kidding. Okay, so now we've covered on the show before, Pat Robertson says yoga opens the door for demons. Okay, I mean, you're doing downward dog, and the dogs are rushing in. The hounds of hell are rushing in, okay? So let me quote a different church, because I really like this. And I like their name, too, the Apologetics and Research Ministry. They're already being apologists, and they say it. That's what we are. Okay, anyway, they say, your body will most likely become much more flexible by doing yoga. Well, that's good. And so will your mind. Okay, great. As one can see, yoga is more than just a physical exercise. We as Christians do not want to make our mind more flexible. We do not want to leave our mind open to false teaching.
Yeah.
Wow.
This is the exact kind of fundamentalism that's really, really dangerous. Because what they're saying is, I'm going to reject this empirical reality, which is a good thing. Can anybody argue that this guy walking is not a good thing? You can't argue that. But what these guys say is, I genuinely don't give a shit. I don't care that he can walk. I'd rather him accept Jesus and be in pain and be in a wheelchair. That's dangerous, man, because think about where else that could lead to. When you're that irrational, where are you going to end up next? Who knows what it could end up with?
Well, you see, the thing is, they view it as a competing philosophy. So they think like, well, if yoga works, maybe the Hindus are right.
Oh, that's such a good point.
Yeah, and they think that yoga, well, it originally comes from the same culture as Hinduism, and they think that the many gods in Hinduism are all demons and devils and shaitans and whatever else they call them, right? And so they think, okay, downward dog is some sort of dude down in Hades, right? And this is the Hindus trying to open your mind. Oh, look down, look down. Oh, yeah, we got you, right? So they think, well, that voodoo worked. That's an even bigger threat, right?
That's right.
Because we were the guys who were supposed to corner the market in healing you. In Mark, they talk about healing you. Jesus heals, right? In Acts of the Apostles, Peter uses Jesus' name to heal someone who was lame. So they're like, no, you're getting in on our scam. We don't like this.
That's right.
It's a competing racket.
This is why Pat Robertson is genuinely scared of Dungeons and Dragons and Harry Potter.
Yeah, no, he talks about it.
I'm not joking. He's spoken about that on the 700 Club. where he says kids don't play Dungeons and Dragons, don't read Harry Potter, because he really believes he believes it's competition to his nonsense. A book that admits that it's fictional. He goes, I think you have a better argument than I do.
Well, Roger Goodell's been really worried about Quidditch lately. So, but isn't that, so look, we're obviously secular. The guy's show's named Secular Talk, right? In Kyle's case. But isn't that a wonderful admission of their defeat?
It makes my job so easy.
Yeah, when
I don't need to provide a counter argument. I just have to quote what they say, show it back to them, and they go, that does look pretty unreasonable.
They believe they're competing with Harry Potter. We win. Okay. Now, in this case, it actually the story ends somewhat well. The pastor of the church says, you know what? I'm a little bit more open-minded. And I love his quote on this. He says, I'm not going to stand in the way or limit how God speaks to people. In the Bible, God speaks through a donkey. Right? So it's not, he's like, I don't know, the Ganesh thing, and if God can speak through a donkey, maybe he can speak through an elephant. Yoga's not about Hinduism in America. Nobody goes to yoga like, oh man, I can't wait to get up on the Upanishads, right? And the reason it worked isn't because Ganesh is more powerful than Jesus. It worked because it's physical exercise. You exercise those muscles and they get stronger and then you've got a chance, right? So he said, hey guys, go ahead and help these guys out. And half the church actually did wind up giving to the GoFundMe campaign. Some of the people in the church left the church entirely because they were disgusted that this guy could walk now without the help of Jesus, okay? So that part doesn't end well. But a lot of them did fund the campaign. They were good Christians. And even though we might not agree with Christianity, there are great, great Christians in the world, and they believe in the power of helping others, helping the needy, etc. And they did in this case. And I'm going to leave you with a good quote from Bob Perry, who's the pastor of the church. He says, some people wanted me to condemn Mike's yoga, but I'm not the one to judge. My job is to teach people how to search for God, not to step in and be God for them. I think it would really help if people try to have a relationship with God rather than trying to be God. If Mike is at peace, then I am with him. Way to go, Bob Perry. All right. See, there's a pastor who actually cares about his flock, who loves his flock, and who wants God to help them no matter how he arrives.